Las Vegas, New Mexico. Bob Mishler's town. Bob wasn't born here. He wasn't raised here. But he made this town his own in a way that few others have. He did it by giving to people and to the town as a whole. Bob knew how to start things, whether it was being the first full-time anthropology faculty at Highlands in 1969, starting the school's first anthropology lab, co-founding the Friends of the City Museum and the Citizens Committee for Historic Preservation, or launching the Las Vegas Community Foundation. He knew how to motivate people to keep these projects alive and moving forward. Listen as those who knew Bob tell us about him and the things he did.
I remember Bob as a strong, calming presence who liked to push the envelope very surreptitiously, and that's how he got things done. I worked with him on the museum book, and Bob always blamed me for it.
Did anyone ever say no to Bob Mishler?
He understood the possibilities of this community far beyond the rest of us. The other thing I have to say about Bob with his Friends of the Museum, it was great that he threw a free party every year. Nobody else did that for their funders, and he just had vision.
Well, I remember Bob quite well from early on. I was one of his students in anthropology, and I wish I'd paid more attention at the time. It wasn't until about 2001 that I moved back to Las Vegas that he nabbed me for becoming a member and a board member of the Friends of the Museum. And he was very persistent. He was a great fundraiser, tremendous friend, probably the biggest booster I think Las Vegas has ever had.
I think that's one of the things that Bob emphasized, to me, and the little bit that I did know him over the last, few years, is that get involved in the community, do the best you can, return something.
For the Main Street event, which was, I think, last year actually, Bob dressed up as Fred Harvey, and that'll probably be one of my lasting images of Bob. It was so wonderful. He looked like a great Fred Harvey.
And I wish I had another 20 years to be with him.
He had big ideas, and he knew how to get people to help him with these big ideas.
I remember Bob Mishler as a person who was dedicated to the community, who was selfless, and above all was a kind person. And so Bob was always out there working hard. He didn't have to do all the things that he did. He gave of his time, he gave of his money, and he was always doing it in a selfless way. And things that didn't benefit him personally, but benefited the community. But above all, he was just an extremely kind person. I think that what I learned from Bob was that you can be effective and get things done without having to be too aggressive.
Everyone has pretty much said all the wonderful things about Mr. Mishler. I remember Mr. Mishler always telling me, "Please, Germaine, call me Bob." But I respected him so much that I could never get myself to calling him Bob. It was always Mr. Mishler.
And when I go to Las Vegas, and we go again, I'll expect to see Bob. I know that none of us are here forever, but I just had this feeling that Bob would always be there.